Have you ever made a terrible mistake, completely ruined your own life, and wish you could just blame someone else? Well, in 1971, one man took that excuse all the way to the American federal court system. He didn't blame his parents, his boss, or the government. He literally tried to sue the Prince of Darkness. This isn't an urban legend or a movie script. This is a real, documented federal lawsuit where a judge had to legally determine if the United States government had jurisdiction over the underworld. Welcome to Exhibit Absurd. Our story begins in 1971 with a 22-year-old man named Gerald Mayo. Gerald was an inmate serving time at the Western Penitentiary, a harsh, maximum security prison in Pittsburgh. Now, to understand Gerald's mindset, you have to understand the pop culture of 1971. This was the exact era when comedian Flip Wilson popularized the legendary catchphrase, "The devil made me do it." It was a national joke, but sitting in a prison cell day after day, Gerald started to take it completely literally. He came to a brilliant conclusion. His incarceration wasn't his fault. He was the victim of a cosmic, supernatural conspiracy. So, Gerald did what any highly litigious American would do. He asked for some legal paperwork and decided to take the source of all evil to the United States District Court. Mayo drafted a formal civil rights complaint. The official docket name? United States ex-rel Gerald Mayo versus Satan and his staff. Mayo didn't just write a crazy letter. He weaponized the United States Code. He filed his lawsuit under Section 1983, the landmark federal law typically used by citizens to sue police officers and government officials for violating their civil liberties. Mayo argued that Satan and his demonic staff had repeatedly caused him misery, made unwarranted threats against his will, and placed deliberate obstacles directly in his path to cause his downfall. Because of this supernatural sabotage, Mayo argued that the devil had officially deprived him of his constitutional rights. And because Mayo was a completely broke prison inmate, he filed in forma pauperis, meaning he asked the federal court to waive all the regular filing fees so he could sue the devil for free. But Gerald didn't just want justice for himself. He wanted a monopoly on cosmic retribution. In his filing, Mayo requested that the court grant the case class action status. Under Rule 23 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, a class action allows one person to sue on behalf of a massive group of people who suffered the exact same injury. Mayo's proposed class? Literally every single human being on planet Earth who had ever been tempted, tricked, or ruined by the devil. He was attempting to build the largest lawsuit in human history, acting as the self-appointed legal representative for all of humanity. Now, 99% of judges would have taken one look at this complaint and immediately thrown it into the nearest trash can. But the case landed on the desk of United States District Judge Gerald J. Weber. Instead of ignoring it, Judge Weber decided to meet Mayo's absurdity with brilliant, deadpan, legal logic. He actually sat down and wrote a formal, published legal opinion outlining exactly why suing Satan was a procedural nightmare. First, Judge Weber addressed the jurisdiction. He pointed out that for a federal court to hear a case, the defendant must have a presence in that district. Weber noted that the complaint contained absolutely no information or evidence proving that Satan actually resided within the Western District of Pennsylvania. But the judge didn't stop there. He noted that while there were no official American legal precedents for suing the devil, there was a famous unofficial account of a trial in New Hampshire, a brilliant, cheeky reference to Stephen Vincent Benet's short story, The Devil and Daniel Webster. Judge Weber noted that in the historical account, the defense raised a fascinating claim that Satan was actually a foreign prince and therefore held no legal standing to be sued in an American court. Weber noted that while Daniel Webster overcame that defense by proving the devil had a historical footprint in America, Mayo hadn't provided any such evidence. Furthermore, Weber tore apart Mayo's class action ambitions. The judge noted that while the class was definitely numerous enough, the court had serious doubts that a lone prison inmate could adequately protect and represent the legal interests of all of mankind. But the absolute best part of the ruling was the final, procedural death blow. Under the rules of American civil procedure, if you sue someone, you are required to submit an official form of instruction for the United States Marshals Service. It is the Marshal's job to physically drive out, locate the defendant, and hand them the lawsuit. Judge Weber pointed out that Mayo had completely failed to provide any instructions on how to serve the summons. Since Mayo couldn't provide a valid, physical, deliverable mailing address or zip code for hell, the lawsuit was paralyzed. With no way to bridge the gap from the physical courtroom to the spiritual realm, Judge Weber officially denied the request to proceed, and the case was dismissed. The case of Mayo versus Satan was officially logged in Volume 54 of the Federal Rules Decisions, and to this day, it is taught to first-year law students across the country as a legendary master class in the absolute necessity of the service of process. It proves that while the devil might make you do it, you still can't sue him for it unless you can give the U.S. Marshals his coordinates. If you want to uncover more bizarre evidence from the most chaotic archives of legal history, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you next time on Exhibit Absurd.